Welcome to Kings, chapter 6 of Proverbs. Alright, so these people are super nice. Like this one girl gave me this cookie for her birthday, celebrating her 18th. But this one's a little bit longer than chapter 5, obviously. And being at Canes, it reminds me of when I was in college. And I worked for the Nest. We made chicken tenders that were definitely not on par with these chicken tenders. Like, chicken tenders at college are like here, and Cane's chicken is like not even on the camera. Like, that's how good comparatively Cane's chicken is to what I tried or what we had at our college. So yeah, that guy's story is pretty awesome. I want to share it briefly because I know what's in this chapter, and I want to compare some of the things in there to what I'm going through currently in my journey to become wealthy and successful for the Lord. So yeah, the guy who created Cane's, right? If you guys know his story, he was down south, obviously, and he basically like had nothing, like moved all the way up to Alaska, right? And like went on a fishing, like I think he was up there for about a year, like fishing off the Alaskan coast, made a bunch of money, lived out of his car, moved down to California, saved some more money, then he came back to where he grew up and created the first Raising Cane's chicken, named it after their dog. So this guy went from like rags to riches, and like if you guys saw on my Facebook and my Facebook story and all that, like my quote, right? I actually like it for the new year, my New Year's theme. So, work like a slave, live like a hobo, and save like a king. So because that guy saved up his money for basically 2 years living like a hobo, you have Raising Cane's chicken, the basically best chicken in America, in my opinion, per taste. I think Chick-fil-A chicken sandwiches are pretty good, but this stuff tastes way better in my opinion. So, with all that said, you know, you can become very, very successful, and if you apply the biblical principles in the book of Proverbs, that's how you can do it. So, I'm gonna go get my chicken, I'll be back. So, now comparing what we read now in Proverbs to what's going on in our culture and society, I went to a school that cost about $100,000, a private Christian school. So I went into debt. And if you look at how this starts, my son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou art stricken thy hand with a stranger, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth, thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go, humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of the hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. So, going into debt is like being trapped. And so, you know, my dad advised me, even though school cost way more than we had to pay for it, he advised me, once you know what you know, they can't take it away from you. And obviously the Bible itself, you know, says get wisdom with whatever cost it is. Like, get wisdom. I have wisdom. I have Christ. I have his word, and I obey it. Not perfectly, but well enough to be wise in this generation. And even though my school cost $100,000 to go to, I've paid off about $41,000 of my school debt. I still have about $59,000 to go, and with interest it's probably like $60,000. But still, like, if I keep working hard, eventually that'll be paid off, and I will still have the wisdom that I went to that school with and for. So, you know, you kind of have to do your own understanding, or your, like, kind of ask God for wisdom regarding debt and like what is worth going into debt for. A college education, a car, some land, a business. But then at the same time, go back to this guy, right? I'm living basically like a hobo right now, working like a slave and saving like a king. Like making $30 an hour, living out your car, living at your mom's, like living without rent, you save a lot of money and you pay off a lot of debt really quickly. So apply the principles of wisdom. You know, Jesus, he was a man that was a carpenter and he had no place to lay his head when he was doing his earthly ministry. But I'm sure Christ had a lot of, influence and money. Even carpenters back then, builders back then got paid decent. You're not like the poor of the poor, you know what I mean? You're not like some thrall. You actually have a physical skill that people would pay good money for, whether it's boats. I'm pretty sure that's the cool thing about Jesus. Like, you know how much I love, and I do love Viking culture. Like, I love shipbuilding, and if God blesses me with riches in the future, yes, I do want to build Weiss Castle Golf Resort in Hastings, Minnesota, and I want to have it look exactly like a Viking Great Hall, and all the different like Amish built cabins and wonderful design things, and like a huge stone wall, and obviously the golf course around it. I might be showing it later on in like a short, like drawings of it, but still, like all those big goals and like building potentially a Viking ship, having the skill of a carpenter is very, very valuable, and it's awesome to see what truly like wonderful craftsmen can make. And so, yeah, Jesus probably did build boats for the fishermen that he called to follow him. And I just think that shipbuilding and craftsmanship, like Jesus would have loved to have been like, a traveling carpenter up to the Northmen to see how the Norse built their ships, the sons of Japheth, the sons of Noah. They kept the family trade of building ships. And obviously that's why the Vikings could sail all the way around the world if they needed to or wanted to. Just a very dangerous thing to do. So back to Proverbs though. Work gets you out of debt, and working really hard gets you out of debt. It's the sum of the principle there. So, go to the ant, thou sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. Like ants are wise because they continually work, they continually gather, they store up for the time of winter so they can be underground eating without problems. Same for you, like, hey, when you can make good money, you go get that money. Like, if you got a great carpentry job that's going to pay you great money, you go do that. Rather than just, like, making half the amount at, like, your local Subway, like what I'm doing right now. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come as one that travaileth, and thy want as an armed man. If you are always sleeping and not working, that is not good for your soul. It's laziness, and laziness is thumbs down, y'all. It's not a good path. It's not a wise path. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a forward mouth. He winketh his eyes. He speaketh with his feet, or he shuffles his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. He pointeth with his fingers. That's why I don't point my finger in my videos. And I think that pointing the finger is wicked. Isaiah 58, you can check out Isaiah 58. It also speaks about doing away with the pointing of the finger and the speaking of vanity. Like, it's wicked to point your finger. Don't do it. Be wise. He winketh with his eyes. He speaketh with his feet. He teacheth with his fingers. He pointeth with his fingers. Forwardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually. He soweth discord. He soweth discord. Like, therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. So this is describing the wicked man and the wicked man's tendencies. Pointing the finger, sowing discord, winking the eyes, being purposely and maliciously deceptive. It's not a good thing to be. Those are the character traits of evil men. And things that I used to do myself before Christ enlightened me to his word, enlightened me to the wisdom of the word. It's kind of cool how the Bible corrects you if you really let it. If you drink deeply from the well that is the Word of God, your soul will be blessed, and you will be wise unto salvation, not by works, but by God's grace that is revealed through the written Word. So, without further ado, these 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among brethren. So, more things that God hates, right? Things that God, despises so much that he would destroy a soul in hell. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee. When thou sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. So, I have kind of a funny thing regarding obeying your mother and father, but I want to give 2 things, I guess. So my dad, his great advice to me was, you become who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with good people, you will be good. If you walk with the wise, you'll become wise. My mom's commandment: clean your room and work hard. Be diligent at work. Work hard. I think those 2 combinations are very good. Walk with people that you want to be like, that are good and wise, and also diligence in work. I think those are the 2 big things I've taken away from my mom and dad. And yeah, those are good. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction in the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. So what that means, right? What that means: by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread. When men spend money on whores, dude, you waste money really fast. Just anybody raise your hands out there that found this channel later. The girls you spend money on that waste your money and are not good, how broke did they make you that quick? So spending money on a very beautiful, wise woman is going to cost you obviously something, but she's going to be wise with your money. If she knows how to save, if she knows how to work hard and actually do something good, create a product and sell a product, you're going to have a residual income. And hopefully you're not just dragging her along with you. Hopefully she's making her own money. You know what I'm saying? Not just sucking the milk off of you as a man who makes good money yourself. But when you can tag team it, dude, when you have a girl that isn't a whore and just wanting you to spend all of your money on her, but she's also making money herself and she's smart, inwardly wise, dude, you got to keep her there. you got the woman that every guy should dream of. You know what I'm saying? A woman who works hard, saves money, and is wise about what she has and her good looks. And so by means of a whorish woman, a man is reduced to a loaf of bread. Saddest story of my Subway career, almost. Beside the guy who died in the bath, or the girl who died in the bathroom, I think. Some drug addict died in the bathroom in Burnsville. It's super sad. The door was locked. The druggies go in the bathroom, lock the door, and basically they overdose in the bathroom, which it's really sad when you have somebody die in your facility. But 2-3 weeks ago, a guy came in. He was a drunk, and basically I bought him a sandwich and gave him a sandwich for free, and he's been sleeping outside. His car's over at Mystic Lake, and dude, alcohol, women, sex, and like that to like a bad extent will get you in a whole lot of trouble. Like being poor and being sinful, dude, will reduce you down to begging for bread at Subway and like living off of booze and living off your phone. Like he wanted me to plug in his phone and I didn't have the right plug-in. Like he's like whatever, broke, poor, and still has like a smartphone, right? Like how? You know what I mean? So yeah, like the full extent to your sinful nature will reduce you down to nothing but a piece of bread and sleeping in the woods in Minnesota in like 6-degree weather. So I'm praying for what's his name? I got his first name. I thought it was Tony, but yeah, I'm praying for the guy. You know, it's really sad. It's like, what can I do? Let you live with me, or let you, go to the homeless shelter? So yeah. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and the adulteress will hunt for the precious life. And it's true. Y'all can see it on your Hell Talk, your whatever crazy Snapchat. Like I'm on just YouTube, Amazon, and the things that make me money. You know what I'm saying? Like all that other stuff is a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? So like know how to use your time wisely, right? And so you can see those girls online, the ones that basically are hunting for good men and just like are like very, very much demonically possessed and like controlled. Like the she-demon Lilith basically is like the ruler of their lives. If you ever heard that song, She's a Demon Lord or something like that, like dude, like some of these women have given themselves over to like Satan and demons, and like that's all they're doing. And like all you goddamn dykes out there, and I will say it that way, if God's giving you over to a reprobate mind and is planning on damning your souls, like it's bad. Like be warned. Like you youth, you beautiful young girls that God has made in his holy image, don't give into that BS. Don't ever give into orgies. Don't you ever think about becoming something that God didn't create you to be. He never created you to be a dyke. He never created you to be anything other than his beautiful daughter. And that's the truth. So yeah, be wise. The adulteress will hunt. She hunts for the precious life. They seek to slay men. They seek to slay you because they themselves are damned. They live damned. It was so sad, like, like the Barbie movie or whatever. She got pregnant, right? Beautiful blonde girl, like super beautiful girl. She got pregnant with a boy, and I saw some girl, right, was basically like, oh, it's a boy, abort it. Like, what the hell is wrong with that kind of woman? Like, seriously, like, who thinks, like, oh, she has a good relationship, I think, and I think she's married. Her husband gets her pregnant, and they have a son. Like, what a blessing. Whether it's a boy or a girl, it's a blessing, right? And you have women basically saying, oh, it's a boy, so abort it. Like, what a shame. What a shame, seriously. So, enough with my rant there. Verse 27, can a man take fire in his bosom and his clothes not be burned? Can one go upon hot coals and his feet not be burned? Like, the question is, basically, like, the answer is no, but like God can save people from the fire like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So yes and no, both answers apply. But in this circumstance, it's like, no, usually you get burned. So if like you go on hot coals, your feet are going to get burned. If you put fire in your chest is going to be burned. So he that goeth into his neighbor's wife, so is he that goeth into his neighbor's wife. Whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with, right? Like, this is the next one. I'd be fine with giving somebody free bread at Subway because I care and they're a human soul and they need to be fed. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. What is it about adultery that God hates so much? Why is God faithful? Faithful to one wife for life. Why is he that way? What is it about his nature, his character, that shows faithfulness to just one woman, just one church, one bride? It's a very interesting question to ask. And it shows a lot about God's character, his nature. Faithful to one. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man, therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. I will say this because I need to, and I think that it is very important to understand about the psychology of men who love one woman. You know, if a man finds out that his wife cheats on him, that inspires so much rage, and like potentially very righteous rage. And we live in a government and in a time where men are disrespected, especially up here in Minnesota. I don't really trust any of the judges up here and any of the people in the government. It's basically taken over by LGBTQ plus people, and it's like, I'm gonna show love to y'all from a distance. I'm gonna make peace with my enemies where I can, but I will legit fight and die if I have to prove to you that you and your ways are evil. And so yeah, you know, if a man gets angry that his wife cheats on him, yeah, you know, one, the man feels like killing the other man that did it. Two, potentially, if the man goes there, he potentially feels like killing his wife. Should be able to forgive her. That's what, you know, Christ would have done. You know, if you look at the book of Hosea and how God told Hosea to go marry a prostitute and be faithful to her, even though she continually has sex with other men for money, right? It's a really messed up story. God, you know, his heart is very holy and he can forgive a whole lot. But yeah, you know, it almost is like the right of a husband to avenge himself on his, you know, on the wrongdoer to his wife, and also in some senses his wife. I don't know exactly how I judge that. You know, like there's that story in the Old Testament about the two whores that came with two children. One died and one lived, and you know, everybody was waiting for Solomon's answer to, hey, how would you solve this injustice? How would you give the baby to the like the one that says it's hers, or the other one? And he says, bring a sword and cut it in half. And basically he found out that the baby's mother would give it up rather than let it be killed. And so he found out that the mother of the child, you know, was the one that was willing to let it live. The other one was not. You know, if I was to judge a matter between a man who killed, you know, the man who committed adultery with his wife and potentially his wife, you know, that would be a really tough judgment. Because on one hand, it's like, well, yeah, adulterers were supposed to be stoned to death in the law. And like, you know, depending on how the man killed her, you know, it's just like, or him, you know, should he be punished or not? Like, it's something that's like, what is it about that, you know, and like why? Like, what led up to it? What was his character like? Did he love his wife, or was he just like a jerk to her and like that's why she cheated? There's so much psychology that goes into, you know, a woman cheating on her husband, and also men cheating on their wives, and you know, finding who's right, and like all of that is a very complicated process. So no, I'm not like all for like always favoring men. You kind of have to judge righteously through the Holy Spirit and like understand like, okay, each story, and then, you know, see who has the heart of mercy, because that usually is, you know, the telltale sign of the person's justification. You know, like if you really loved your wife and she cheated on you, you probably wouldn't want to kill her. You'd probably want to forgive her and like restore her. You'd still probably want to kill the man for sure, and I wouldn't, honest to God, I wouldn't blame you if you did. And if you did, I'd probably be right there with you. Because any guy who cheats on a married woman or cheats with a married woman, he ought to be stoned to death, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with it. And like David did that. He cheated on, think about that. Like God showed David mercy, cheating on his soldier's wife, while he was at war. Like how awful is that, So it all kind of comes back, we as human beings, we can say the right thing, but then do we do the right thing? I'm hoping to leave behind a faithful legacy, a legacy of marriage and one wife and a happy family and a faithful marriage, not only from my perspective, but also from my wife's perspective. That's what my book is all about, the story of Blind Beauty. I hope if you've bought it and you've read it, that you really took it to heart and you consider well the meaning of true and pure love. So I think this video is long enough. That's chapter 6 of Proverbs, and I hope you got some good insight from what I said. I'm going to enjoy my little cookie, not too much obviously, and some of this Cane's. God bless you.